The first year we did 187,500 cases. And I tasted every single batch before it was allowed to be put in a jar. I did 100,000 miles on United that year and did not leave it. Chef Selaznick was like, our menu is the label. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, no one's ever done a label looking like that. It's an illustration. I put it on a jar and I'm like, well, that's really freaking interesting. We're still fastest growing pasta sauce brand. We're driving on average between 30 and 50% of the overall category growth rate. And we've done that in 5 years.
No, it really speaks for itself. And again, as someone who's not even had the chance to go in person, it is that special feeling of, I'm in Columbus, Ohio, but I've got this little bit of cool, sexy, New York, iconic Italian restaurant right with me at all times. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Perfect Bite podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Perkins. As much as I love homemade tomato sauce, it's hard when you don't have the freshest of ingredients. And that's why I'm so excited about all of the incredible jarred sauces you can find today to bring home a taste of your favorite restaurants to the comfort of your own kitchen. Today's guest brings a wide breadth of CPG experience to my personal favorite pasta sauce, along with his time of being a founder of his own brand. He's proof that you can start a company at any time of your career journey and also use those founder powers in any role you find yourself in the future. Please welcome CEO of Carbone Fine Food, Eric Skae. Eric.
Hi, thanks for asking me to join.
Oh, I'm so glad that we connected on LinkedIn. You're so open to everyone who's commenting on your posts.
I try.
I'm sure you've got a lot of people who are excited and always giving you ideas here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we're so busy. I do get a lot of ideas from people. I don't know how much time I have to think about. I mean, that's the reality of where we are today. We're, growing rapidly. We're still fastest growing pasta sauce brand and call it the top 50. Maybe it's the top 25 because when you get down to 50, they're very small.
Right.
But we're driving on average between 30 and 50% of the overall category growth rate. And we've done that in 5 years. So it's been an amazing 5-year journey building this brand.
Absolutely. And the times I've been to New York lately, of course, you can never get into Carbone, the restaurant. And so I love that the brand is feeding into itself, whether you want to go in person or have that experience at home, no matter where you are.
No, that's why I'm doing it. I had the experience in a restaurant. I was lucky enough to have it on my daughter's birthday. She was turning 25 and she wanted to go to Carbone, and I was running Rayo's at the time. So obviously that was a little contentious.
You were like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, we were through it. I found a way to get a reservation in 5 days, which was shocking.
Oh my gosh.
I ended up having a contact that was friends with someone at Carbone, got me the table. It was like a 5 o'clock table. Like it was, it was the first.
I love a 5 o'clock dinner.
I'm good with it too. But I ended up taking my whole family. I have 4 children, and they were all there, and they raved about it afterwards. So when I got a call from someone asking me if I wanted to be married at Carbone, it was someone in the business named Jordan Gaspar. I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Like, I had never thought about building another pasta sauce company.
Right.
Just the elements and the way Carbone approaches hospitality. It's something different, right? The Rayo's approached hospitality in a very different way when you went there.
Right.
Like you go to a New York restaurant, you felt like you were part of the family.
Yes.
Carbone is a little different. It used to be dinner in the show. Now dinner is the show. That is Carbone. So it's a different experience. So it's a different marketing angle. That's the way you build it, but still had the elements of something that you could build on.
Definitely. And Rayo's is probably like my number 2. Like, again, quality is really great, but there's something about Carbone that's just, you're so excited to pick it up at the grocery store too.
When everything's fresh and you're using the best tomatoes in the world, you're going to get a good product.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We are cooking open kettle like you would in your house, and it does cook for an hour. So like if I did it side by side of you cooking in your kitchen and me cooking in mine, it would be pretty much the same, just different looking equipment.
Oh my goodness. I was going to say, I'm excited to talk about like how you do that at scale and hold on to that quality. Let's take things back a little bit first here. Have you always been someone who's loved food? I mean, you've had such an amazing career in CPG. Did you always tell yourself, like, this is exactly where I want to go into?
Look, for a guy who runs an Italian company, I come from a very big Irish family. I have 6 younger brothers and sisters. and you got together around food. So yeah, I
Yes.
always loved food. But there's a lot of food. It meant there was a family event, right?
Yes.
And it was special. It was a special sort of thing. So yes, I've always liked food, but I started in this business of beverage. I spent 20 some odd years in beverage before flipping the food. And when I got the call asking if I'd run the rails business, I'm like, well, it's liquid. It goes in a jar and it goes on a shelf. When you think about the fundamentals of this business, people tend to overcomplicate a very simple business. Don't get me wrong. It is the hardest freaking simple business in the world.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, what do? We put jars on shelves, or we put them behind glass and frozen, or we put them in a refrigerated case over in the produce and dairy aisle. But it's all the same. Like, how much does it cost you to make? How much can you sell it for? Is there consumer demand? What's it going to take to reach that consumer? You can write that all down. Now, making it happen is what's hard.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about your own business that you started. You worked on it for about 8 years. It was an iced tea business called New Leaf brand. What inspired you to start your own brand and your own company? And I want to hear, like, you had been in CPG for a bit. What was the founder experience like for you?
I had two businesses at the time. I had Ice and Spring Water, and I had partners in that business. They really didn't want to grow in a big way. So I was looking to grow, and I was like, what can I grow with? And I always liked the iced tea business. So I just grew a concept, and, I launched an iced tea brand. '08 hurt us. I took significant personal losses during that time.
Oh, yeah.
I had to rebound, I say significant, like, I'm not a wealthy guy. I scratched and clawed for everything I had. So I personally lost $3.2 million, and I didn't have $3.2 million. So I had to figure out how to get some money back to people and whatever. It was a tough experience, and had to rebuild in my 40s.
Yes.
With a kid in college, right? So I just got head down, and let's put it that way, 15 or 16 years. So we got through it. It was fine. But, look, I had a great iced tea brand. We were in 37 states, had over 130 distributors. It was jamming. We just had some issues in the business that made it problematic to raise money.
Right.
So I did, and I tried, and I kept on going until my board decided I had given up control to try to save the company. And my board decided it was time for me to move, not me.
Yeah. And they said,
I had an option.
Let's go.
I had an option on the table to save the company. They didn't like the option. They put someone else in, and if that person failed, my option would work. But it's okay. At some point I will buy the rights to that brand back, because it is my baby still.
I feel that.
It's lost. I'm going to go find it someday. I got to get time.
I love that you have that feeling, because I sometimes think about the startup I tried and was like, do I somehow attempt that again? Who would do it better? It's
sitting out there. I sold it into a public company to sell it, and that public company went to fund. So it's sitting out there. So legally, to get the name back just is going to take me some legal work and time. But I know what I've got to do. I've got all the process now. It's a matter of just deciding when I'm going to put time and money into it.
Yes. You're like, baby, I'm coming back somehow.
Well, I'm going to go to one of my kids, and if they want to do something, I'll do something.
That's great. Yeah. Turn it into a family business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love that you also showed the perseverance of, one, these things don't happen overnight. People say, like, wow, look at that company that just raised a bunch of money. And they don't realize that someone's been working at it already, say, 5 years more to be able to get to that space or have a big acquisition. And you also explained the part of when you get a board involved, when you get outside investors involved, it's like, yes, that's great for growth, but there are the times then that they make decisions with the baby that are really tough for you.
Yeah. I mean, look, I put myself in positions after that. Well, that will never happen to me again.
Yes.
Yes.
Learning lessons for sure.
Yeah.
Also been there.
Yeah, that will never happen again. So the reality is just, I run good businesses where I have kind of operating control. I love having a board. I love having a smart board.
Yes.
But I want a board that I go when I have a problem, they help me with the problem, not someone's going to tell me how to run this business, because this is what I do. It's not what they do, right? So that's why I think when you pick your board members, you got to be very smart as to what you're bringing in. Someone should have some legal expertise. Someone should have accounting expertise. Someone should have some sales expertise. But you don't need to duplicate yourself on a board. You want people who have strengths that you don't have, so you can go to them and a board can work in a very, very good way. I have that now. I founded the brand with Mario Carbone. I helped create it was myself, Mario, Rich in a production facility. Rich Teresi, Mario's partner, and the two of them, two award-winning chefs would get in their car at 3 a.m. and meet me in central Pennsylvania by 6. I had flown in from Vegas the night before and driven out. And we did this. Yeah, I did it a lot more than them, obviously, just because they had businesses to run. But they were out there at least 15 times. So we dialed in the proper taste that we felt was representative of the restaurant and its quality.
Yeah.
And that was really, really important. So we have an agreement that Mario and Rich are 100% involved in culinary. I want them there. They're not going to tell me how to run a co-packer. They don't do that. Right? But they will work with me on taste. So every month, Rich Teresi and I meet in New York, and we taste our product. We taste our current product. We're constantly tasting it against the spec to make sure it hasn't changed because we're using fresh ingredients.
Yes.
We are going to have some taste variation, and we've got to understand that it's light. It's stuff him and I will taste. Maybe the general consumer, after you cook it, put it on pasta. And him and I are tasting it cold because it's got to be there. But we do this continuously. We taste other people's products.
Yes. Smart.
That taste against their quality and make sure that we're beating their quality, because our whole thing is modern chef-driven restaurant quality. Like, I've got to deliver on the promise. I made that promise. I got to deliver on it.
Oh, you're a professional taste tester. How fun is that for you?
Well, it's my favorite part of the job, but I can tell you the first year we did 187,500 cases. And I tasted every single batch before it was allowed to be put in a jar. I did 100,000 miles on United that year and did not leave the country.
Holy cow.
So I'm serious about this.
I mean, you are a co-founder. So I appreciate that you clarified that too. You're like, no, I was here from the beginning. It wasn't just, hey, do you want to pop in?
Created the recipes and I borrowed the branding, obviously, because it made sense too.
Right.
Everything was built from scratch from day one. And it was a sprint because I had been talking to Mario and his business partners for a while. And it was pandemic started. They're trying to figure out what's going on. New York getting shut down. They're opening businesses in Miami. There's a lot going on at the time. So it took us probably 6 months to get an agreement done. We got an agreement done October 29th of 2020. And we were on shelves by March of 21. So to make that happen in that short period of time. Now, that said, I had been working on recipes prior to having a contract. I would not have gotten there. But I wasn't working on branding. I wasn't working on all of those things. So we had a fast track. So as I'm talking to the three partners, Jeff Selaznick, one of the three major food group owners, was like, our menu is the label. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, no one's ever done a label looking like that. It's an illustration.
It's a beautiful illustration.
It worked, right?
Yes.
I put it on a jar and I'm like, well, that's really freaking interesting. Now we've had to update it a little. We recognized that when we went into places where they merchandise this in a case, the flavor was being blocked. So now you see the flavor across the middle. That is the reason for that vodka from the middle that is just on the bottom.
Yes.
Is blocked in the case. This is stuff I would have picked up on if I had more than 3 minutes to come up with a label.
Yes. It's so beautiful and distinct, though.
It is. It's well thought through. So even though we did that quick, it was thought through. And we missed the one thing, which was the flavor across the middle. And now that we have that color pop in the middle, you go to a shelf and you do the 10, 5, and 2. From 10 feet, you see it really well. From 5 feet, you see it really well. From 2, you understand it. So it's good. It's a good representation of the brand. It speaks off the shelf for itself, which is what a brand should do.
No, it really speaks for itself. And again, as someone who's not even had the chance to go in person, it is that special feeling of, I'm in Columbus, Ohio, but I've got this little bit of cool, sexy, New York, iconic Italian restaurant right with me at all times.
Yeah, I got you. Do you really live in Columbus, Ohio?
I did. I moved here a year and a half ago. Longtime Chicagoans. So again, Noah red sauce, love an Italian place.
I lived in Solon, Ohio for a while, so I like Ohio.
I know. People don't understand how good the food is here.
Yeah, I was there in the 90s. Before many people listening to this were born.
It has grown, I'm telling you. People think do we save a lot of money here? Not that much.
Yeah. I get it.
Talk to us a little bit more about the ingredients here. So I love how involved you were with the recipe development. You're tasting constantly. What is it about using the fresh ingredients and doing that kettle cooking on scale that Carbone is doing that no one else. I mean, are other folks trying to do that? Where are they really standing out?
Somewhat of our moat because no one wants to do it, right? And
Yeah.
it is hard to do at scale. And like I've got to solve today for 7 million cases 2 years from now. Like this year we'll do 3.5 million cases of red sauce, but that will double in the next 2 years. So I have to figure out how to solve for that.
Yes.
Getting that kind of capacity, it's there. I know how to do it, but you've got to be open to going wide. You got to do a global search. It's not just a U.S. search. I'm bringing
Right.
Italy, so I've got to look at Italy. Is there an option there? Do I continue to make it all here in the U.S. with Italian tomatoes? These are the choices that we will have to make to get to those cases. I'm going to have to make those decisions within the next 6 months, right? Because if you don't, you're chasing, and I don't want to chase.
Yeah.
Not at this point. I want to be ahead of it. So we're working to be ahead of that capacity right now. I mean, we've added on average, I just got a data point from 2023 Q1
Okay.
to 2025 Q4. Our household penetration grew from 0.08 to 4%. It's on average 156,000 new households a month, and it continues. Every month it goes up. Every month it's up 0.1 of a point. It's up 0.2 of a point. And that's going to explode now that we went into Costco when we went in and we said, we're going to demo. We're going to demo hard. We had to because the king in Costco, and the king is the king until the king is dead. And I'm not sure that I'm not looking to kill the king. I put the king in Costco, right? So I like the king, right?
Yes.
But that said, I've got to build my business in Costco. So this year, I would estimate that we're going to do 6,000 demos in Costco.
Across the country.
Across the country.
I mean, many each day.
The rotations, we're going in and we're working it hard, and I'm training my people and brand ambassadors to be in there. So we're selling our product. We're talking about our product. And you got to remember, it's the only place in the world where you can trial 2,000 people in a day.
Right.
So they will go buy a jar in their general store when they trialed it there. So I think it's one of the best trial drivers in the world, and we're on this push. So I see household penetration actually accelerating, not decelerating.
Yes.
To go into this. And look, the competitor's at 23.8. So there's a lot between our 4 and their 23.8. Look, you talked
but
about.
you're going fast, though.
About these businesses. Rayo's is a 36-year-old overnight success. It started in 1992. It's a 34-year-old overnight success story. When I sold it in 2016 for an enormous amount of money at that time, or 17, it was a 25-year-old overnight success story, and it was only doing, call it, $70 million at the time, right? After 25 years. So it grew slow.
It's a long time.
People who grew it during that time, they were great shepherds of the brand. It was kind of undermanaged. There was a lot that could grow there. They didn't do anything wrong. They just could have done more.
Yes.
Right? But they really built the foundation of that brand so strong. So I get in the news, I get credit for Rayo's quite, at times, I didn't make Rayo's. I was a good shepherd of the brand, like the people before me and like the people after me. And that's why it is where it is today.
Yes. What would you attribute to Carbone's just rapid expansion here? So you're doing the in-store demos. I love the content. I mean, we can talk a little bit more about that later too, but the brand itself is very unique. But what would you think is really the number one driver in terms of why people are picking this up so quickly?
I think we have a great product. It's really that simple.
Just speaks to itself.
It does speak for itself. And actually, that was going to be my tagline when it started. But since Mario has said from the very beginning, it used to be dinner and a show, now dinner is a show, I'm going to use his words, not mine.
Yes.
The brand does speak for itself to a degree. And so let's start at the show. 35% of decisions in our category are made at the show. I would say in the super premium set, it's probably higher, but I don't have that data broken down. So right now, I know 3.5 people out of every 10 are going to make a decision at the shelf, and I'm going to win because I look really good at looking at premium. So that's the first place. Secondly, we recognize there's an authenticity that has to happen with every brand, and everybody's flywheel for marketing is going to be different because you've got to really get into the root of who you are and what you are. Well, we're the show. So when you see our Instagram, when you see the events we do, you see everything we do. Our flywheel is PR, event, social. I put this on TV. I tried CTV, right? Of course, the people I spent the money with and my marketing team was, household awareness was up. Well, awareness don't sell jars. And we're too young to spend a ton of money on awareness. We need to be driving at the shelf. We need to be driving in pop culture where our brand's known. That's the authenticity that comes with this brand. And it gave it to us. Like, we didn't have to fight for it, right? It was there. We just got to go work it. We've got to design it. So that's our whole approach, is like, how do we stay as authentic to this brand as we possibly can? So, like, you'll see, we will co-op, we will go to events with other people. So we've done events with Alex Cooper, for example.
Right.
We've done pop-ups at a Post Malone concert in the back lot. That's really fun and great stuff, and it's working within pop culture. But, I always liked the Red Bull approach, where you ran your own events and you owned your own events. So, like, we did an event in No Vacancy, LA, had 300 people at the event. There was Bravo people there. There was people from the cast of some of the shows. There were press there, and there was general public there. And that was our event, right? And we do that better. But, like, that particular event, within a week, maybe 400 million impressions in PR, and it was localized. So it helps LA, right? So that's the approach, is how do we drive this brand? And then, of course, we have our superpower, who's Mario Carbone. Like, it didn't hurt that he was on Jimmy Fallon last week.
Oh my gosh. I saw that. It was so great.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon, Elvis Duran. So he's doing press. Mario's a lifestyle guy. So, yeah, he's doing Carbone Beach in the F1, and that was primarily talking about, but he owns a sauce company, so he's going to talk about it. He owns restaurants, and he's expanding them, so he's going to talk about it. And he does it really well. And that is a little bit of a superpower advantage that I have versus others in the category.
Yeah, I would say almost like your storytelling secret ingredient, as I like to call them, is really just owning your own message. So you're not relying on outside advertisers. You're not relying on outside partners or even, say, influencer partnerships to push this forward. You're saying, here's who we are. And the more that we can keep a hold on this, the better that we can hold on to the brand itself.
Yeah, it's going to continue to be unapologetic who we are. Like, it's that simple. Like, we have had years where we've driven 10 billion PR impressions, right? And you got to work for that.
You do. And it is about, like, continuously putting yourself out there. It's not saying, like, let's wait for someone else to pick us up.
Look, you have to. I got a big competitor. As far as I'm concerned today, I have one competitor. So as I look at the way the world lays out, in natural, I'm number 2 behind Reyes.
Yeah.
In MULO, multi-unit outlet, I'm number 6. But if you look at, and this is branded, I always strip out private label. So the way it lays out right now is Reyes is number 1 from a dollar standpoint, Prego's number 2, Ragu's number 3, Classico's number 4, Bertolli's number 5, and I'm number 6. So you've got premium, value, premium.
Yeah.
So really the number 2 brand in America. I'm the number 2 super premium brand in America, converting at a level that no one is, driving the majority of the category growth. When it comes to, it's us and Rayo's still driving growth, because Rayo's on $1 billion basis still growing at 8 or 9%. So you talk about that brand foundation.
Yes.
There's a reason why it's growing there. They set a very, very good foundation back in 1992. And believe it or not, there was a guy, because I worked there, and my head of sales now is a guy named Jim Morano. And his dad was one of the co-founders of Rayo's. And the way he came in is there was 5 restaurateurs and lawyers. It was a group of restaurateurs and lawyers that were going to create a brand. And one of the lawyers said, I'll put my money in if you bring in someone that understands consumer goods. Because I got a friend, let's bring him in. So Joe Morano made an investment in 1991 to start Rayo's in 92. And he wrote, I saw his notes, it shocked me. He wrote in 1991, we will be clean label. There was no clean label in 1991. It didn't exist.
No, it was the value brands only.
The guy was so far ahead of his time. Like, you start reading his Meal Solution work, and like everything he was talking about came to fruition in the category. He was just way, way ahead of it. And it was like really interesting to read those notes early on. And then there was a bunch of people like Frank Pellegrino Sr. The reason that I tasted every batch is I heard Frank did the first year. Like, if Frank did, I'm doing it. So like, so there was a lot that came from like having that experience that led me to think about it here. And while it's a completely different brand, there were certain things like tasting every single batch for a year that became important to me having been there.
Yes, you have a lot of respect for your competition, but you're willing to say, I'm still going to beat King. I'm still going to beat you.
I'm going to be number 1. When I went to Rayo's, it was the number 6 brand in America, and I vowed it would be number 1. And unfortunately, I wasn't given the opportunity to stay there and do it. There was a shareholder battle. The only solve was to sell the company.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have continued to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month
Oof.
to hold it together. That's where it was.
Oof.
It was in the New York Post. It was ugly. We solved the shareholder battle and said, let's sell the company. I would have ran that company for the rest of my life. So, of course, I'm going to pay it respect.
Yes.
There will be no Carbone if there wasn't a Rayo's, right? Or I'd be Rayo's in 1992. That's what I'd be slowly pioneering a category. They pioneered the category and they made it easy for all of us that entered afterwards. But like I said, because of where I am, I'm an athlete. I never look behind me. I'm always chasing the person in front of me.
What sports do you like?
Every ankle biter. I know every single one of them that's trying to knock it off, but I don't pay attention.
Right. Do you like to do any sports?
I mean, look, I played football for 13 years. Yeah, I played through college a little bit, and that was that. But yeah, I mean, I'm an athlete, but I quit basketball in my 40s. Like now I walk. That's the sport.
Yeah, you got to keep. I like that you have that mentality of like, we're going to win the game.
Yeah, no, it's 5 to 7 miles walking a day for a bit there. Like I got to get back on track because I'm under 5. But yeah, no, I have a competitive nature.
Well, it's going to work.
I don't mind losing either.
Well, yeah, doing it gracefully because sometimes there are just some things out of your control. And that's also that good.
I'm a sore loser. No one else knows. I will figure out why I lost. I'll make sure I don't lose again. I mean, that's what competitiveness is, right? Like understanding where you went wrong and figuring out how you do it right next time.
Yes. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any concern? You were talking about, hey, we might have to be figuring out some manufacturing and co-packing that's happening overseas. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and it started last year as well. Do you then in your space have any concerns in terms of tariffs or any other limitations that would be coming in the way?
I hate it all. But you know what? There's a tomato that comes from this little place in southern Italy.
Yes.
They sell the best tomatoes in the world. And I will tell you, if I find the better tomato in the U.S., where it doesn't cost me cook time and all the things that it's going to cost me, I'm about the best ingredient.
Right.
About where it comes from. It just so happens that this is the best tomato that I found. I mean, I did an extensive review up in northern Italy, and I determined that I could probably make their tomato work, but it would be a different process.
Mm.
So I'd have to take, high bricks puree and add it to their tomato to get the sweetness level up, to get the cook. That's just a lot.
The science.
There's a lot there, but in the event, like, if shipping lanes shut down, I'm going to figure it out, right? Like, it's just going to cost me something. It won't cost me quality because I will figure it out. In some way, shape, or form, there's always an answer, right?
Yeah.
That said, am I worried about it? Who wouldn't be, right? Like, particularly with energy prices being affected, that's going to be the bigger challenge out of almost all of it. And then let's hope it doesn't expand.
Correct. Right? And I think you've got an interesting market because I am likely part of it where I've fallen in love with, I guess you could call them the bougie pantry staples. You're so excited about having great quality ingredients in your own home when you are cooking yourself. Why do you think that shift started happening? Because you mentioned 4 other value brands, that reigned my childhood and have reigned supreme. Why do you think that there has been such a shift and like a willingness then to pay premium for premiums pantry staples?
It's being generationally driven. As you can see it, the boomers started it, then it went to Gen X and they started eating a little better. And now millennials are driving the hell out of it, right?
Yes.
So, and I'd say that, like, you think about where it started, and I'm sure there's other examples, but chocolate.
Yes.
50 years ago, started premiumizing. The one before it, ice cream, Ben & Jerry's, the pioneers of premiumization, as far as I'm concerned, right? They went into the ice cream category that was like the cheapest crap you could buy and went in at 4 times the cost, right? Rayo's, 1992, $9.99 on the shelf in 1992.
And that would shock someone.
It shocked people.
Yes.
Shocked people, but it worked. It just took time to go there. But generationally, I think the millennial generation and I think Gen Z will be the same way. They want better ingredients.
Yeah.
They understand ingredients. Think about it. We didn't understand. I am 62. We didn't talk about was ingredients, processed foods. There was no chatter about processed foods when I was a teenager.
No.
You just ate food. Well, like, you weren't thinking about what the ingredients were in it. That shift started. And once that shift started, so if I think about it, it probably started with the ingredient quality and people wanting better and understanding that some of this processed foods or some of this added sugar stuff is not good for you. Particularly, the high fructose corn syrup, like that started getting some bad press probably late 90s. And that might have been the beginning of the drive, right, to real sugar and whatever. So I think it's just been an evolution. And I think every category at some point is going for premium.
Do you ever get swayed by all the different food trends that are happening right now? So speaking of like clean labels, like we're almost swinging really hard in different directions away from anything just fun for you. And so have you ever thought, oh, do we need to be highlighting protein in any of these things? Fibers now becoming such a big category driver here. Is there
No,
anything about you all that's like, we should do it too?
I have a marketing advisor who I love, like my best friend, but he sent me a note going, should we be adding fiber? And I just lost my mind. Like, we are who we are. We're
Yes.
who we are. We're unapologetic about it. I'm not going to go be a fiber guy or a protein guy. You want protein with my product? Add a piece of steak in it. Do a steak pizza. You got plenty of protein.
Get some meatballs, get some chicken.
So we're leaning into the protein, the push to protein, because we have to, like everybody does. You'll see our recipes are driven there. We just did a line of simmer sauces, cacciatore bolognese, restaurant quality meal in under 30 minutes. You make my bolognese, I would challenge my bolognese against Italian restaurants across this country. And I would beat most of them. Like, it's so good because it was done with my chefs.
Right.
One of the best chefs in the world. We make great product and we pride ourselves on that product. So we recognize we've got to put protein dishes out there, but pasta sauce is a very versatile tomato sauce. Let's call it tomato sauce.
Right.
It's a very versatile ingredient. You can use it in an awful lot of things. I made some of the best chili in the world with our arrabbiata.
Ooh, a little kick. That would be great.
Arrabbiata gives you the spice level, and then you just need some chili. Like this is a base for an awful lot of things.
Yes. We actually used your vodka sauce on New Year's Eve to braise some short rib. And so just dumps the whole jar in, put in the nice short rib from like the specialty grocery store. It's incredible.
And use regular spicy vodka.
I've had to switch to regular. I love my sweetheart, but he can't handle any spice.
No, it's fine. Look, our spicy vodka is their signature dish, and like we were the first people out there that made the home cooked finish it.
Yes.
Where you add your own cream and butter.
To add the cream.
But the only reason that was the signature dish at Carbone is spicy rigatoni.
Yes.
And not that they created spicy rigatoni. I mean, Mario talked about it. He didn't even intend that this was going to be his biggest dish. He was looking for another pasta dish.
Right.
To put on the menu, and it turned out to be what I've heard. I've heard chatter where it's the most photographed pasta dish ever. And if you just put spicy rigatoni without putting Carbone in the search engine, you'll believe it. It's pages and pages of Carbone, and people trying to knock off Carbone, and people taking a picture of their rooster plate with the spicy rig on it, and so on and so forth. I like the fact that we had to finish it, and I try to coupon people when I'm out and about. So I went to an orthopedic appointment that I had first time I'm in the doctor, and I coupon the four people behind the desk. And this was last week. It was my happiest moment of last week. The lady grabs the coupon and she goes, "Oh, spicy vodka where I add the cream." I was like, it was amazing.
She just
amazing.
knew.
Just knew. And that's the first time that happened to me with that particular item. So it was just my happiest moment.
Oh, and I love that. Like, you do not have any shame of being like, I'm at the doctor's office. Let's get people buying the sauce.
Everywhere I go. Yes.
That's what you have to do.
Yesterday I went to my gym and I checked in and they thanked me for the coupon I gave them 2 weeks ago. Like, I try to make sure that wherever I go, if I am traveling and it's on the company's dime, you will see me wearing this Carbone jacket 100% of the time. You will see me with my Carbone bag. If I'm traveling for personal reasons, I'm not wearing my Carbone gear because I don't want to talk about work.
Yeah, like not today.
Unfortunately, there's very little of that lately, but neither here nor there. I'm just saying, if I'm on the company's time, and I know some other people who are like this, the pasta manufacturer out of Detroit, we talked about it because they always travel branded too. They're like, if the company's paying for it, even though they're owners of their own company.
Right.
On the company's dime, we're traveling branded.
100%. You got to put it out every single day.
Everywhere you go.
So you of course have the lovely red sauces, the bolognese that we talked about here. You've got some Alfredo, some like almost mac and cheese related sauces. What do you think is next? Where do you all think that you're expanding? Would it go beyond sauce? That's how you and I met, was ideas of like, would you ever do a frozen product or a fresh product?
So we're like, look, this is the reality. We're an Italian platform brand. That's where we are. If you look at what Rayo's has done, I started a lot of that R&D. That's the way they go. I know how to get there. We're growing rapidly. Like right now, we got 70% year over year growth, where we're kind of somewhere around 130 million through the register. So you we're over 100 million now. We won't get there, but we'll approach 200 this year. And we're growing at that kind of rate. And because of that, I believe in maniacal focus. We're not doing anything but sauce.
Okay.
That said, I've got a list of 15 other things I can do in a supermarket, and combined it is an $80 billion addressable market. So I have some ideas of where to go next. But like, think about it on the pasta sauce wall. I haven't done a pesto yet, right? It's
Right.
there. It's a small category, but it's a category.
If you
I
could do like a nut-free version, that would be fantastic.
How do you do a pesto without pine nuts and keep authentic to Carbone?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not gonna,
This is just me with my nut allergy asking.
no, not going to happen. Sorry.
Okay, not one for me.
Be unapologetic of, well, I'm not leaning into trend. It's too difficult for us. I do have a delicado with no onions and garlic for people who need a 5-MAP diet. So like, we'll lean into dietary restrictions. Nut allergies become tough because I got to make a pesto, and it has to have, the reason I didn't do it is all the samples I got at cashews, because pine nuts are so expensive. I had one developed, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, Carbone, I got to have some pine nuts in this thing, or it's not
Right.
authentic. So these are some of the things. But canned tomatoes, I got a spin on it. I have the best tomato in the world. I go to great lengths to get the best tomato in the world. Should I put them in a jar instead of a can? And should I have tomatoes for someone who does want to make their own sauce, where they can use the same tomatoes? I'm not saying we're doing these things. I'm just blue skying. I've got a bunch of ideas, but there's a lot on that wall right now for us to work with. So I'll tease it. You'll be the first person who hears about it nationally. We're launching an Italian chili crunch in July. It'll launch at retail in September, online in July. And we've got a green and a red. And I can tell you, our green chili crunch,
oh my gosh,
is going to crush it, because it's a pepperoni. It's really interesting.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. I love chili crunch, and I love a chili oil.
Yeah,
I have one behind me.
It's chili crisp, I should say. But like last week, 2 weeks ago, we did a pizza party at Expo West, to get back to what we do, pizza with our parties. We took over a pizza place. We had probably 500 people show up. We probably made 1,000 pizzas, and we did have the chili crisp there, waiting for people, letting people try it.
Yes.
And just the unsolicited responses that I got back were insane. This thing is going to be really, really big and exciting.
I'm going to pick it up for sure. I love a sauce. I love a condiment. And I've just fallen in love with the incredible chili oils and crisps over the last few years. And I like that you're the Italian version. Thank you for letting us know, because I will be lining up.
Adding one, it's going to be, so like, I think about the adjacencies that we can work on right now, where we don't have to go wide and far. Like, there is a big part of me that believes I should have a Calabrian chili spread and paste, because we're so well known for spicy vodka. That's the base of it. We really should have our own. You know what I mean? So like, these are some of the things that I'm thinking through as I expand, where I keep it very, very close to where we are now, versus going to a frozen or going to a refrigerated aisle. I come up with ideas all the time, but like, they all require time, money, expertise, and so on and so forth. So we'll be disciplined and careful, and discipline is really the crux of this conversation we just had. You got to stay disciplined. You can't chase shiny outfits. It's bad.
Yeah. Stick to what you know. And also, again, all of these things go so well together that, again, you'll see them easily on the shelf in one spot.
No, exactly. And that's kind of where I'm leaning in. It's like, what is in that aisle where I can build a Carbone brand without going too far from it?
Yes. If you have any dream partnerships or collaborations, what one do you want to manifest? Is there something with Stanley Tucci? Is there someone that you're like, wow, that would be incredible if we worked with those folks?
Stanley Tucci's an interesting one because I've had this on kind of the brain and haven't approached them. But
This is time.
he did, without getting into detail, because I'm not going to get into detail. I watched Searching for Italy, and it's a concept that I really like that I think we could do together that would be interesting. But when I think about our brand, like, when we first come out, Mario makes our merch now. But when we first came out, we needed merch. Well, you see in our original swag right here, it's Fila.
Yes.
Right? It's an Italian brand. It worked for our profile. It's velour. My whole team wore this year one to Expo West, and we looked like an Italian soccer team coming up. I looked like the coach. Everybody else looked like the player, but we looked like the Italian soccer team walking into Expo West. So every year we've done a different uniform. Version 2 is on my chair behind me because I switched it. This was the tracksuit.
Oh.
Mario then built us a salesman's jacket last year. That was a black jacket that was
I like that.
brand, and it went crazy. This year we did a maroon jacket that was more like a varsity jacket for Expo West. So like every year we're going to mix it up and do something that like is exciting where people are asking us for our swag. Right? Like our maroon jackets, they're not for sale. Mario salesman jacket, yes, we made enough where the consumer could get that. But there's going to be things that are just for my team.
Perfect. Yes, I love that. You do so much, and you clearly are incredibly passionate about the work that you do. What do you like to do to actually wind down? What are you doing to fill your own cup so that you can keep? You're like, I don't.
Work. I love what I do, so it just never stops.
Yeah, it's what keeps you going.
Put out my brain. I do need to. So I need a walk every day, and where I just throw on my playlist, and I don't care if it's 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. It's 10-minute vacation. I try to get either to the sauna or if I can't make it to the sauna, I do live in Vegas and there's a hot tub in the back, I'll jump in that. Right. So I do take a half-hour vacation every day somewhere, somehow.
A mental vacation.
Yeah, and look, it's like a vacation. The other thing that I have found when I travel, and I go to New York a lot, I live there and I have a lot of family there. If I get to a family event and it's just even a half a day, that seems like a week-long vacation, right? Because you're connecting with people you haven't seen in a while. You're talking about things outside of work. You're catching up. So, like, for me, I don't need a lot. Those are the things that are important. And once a year, I do try to get away. My wife and I are coming up the year. So this year's Japan.
Oh, that will be beautiful.
I did tell my team, it's the first time in 5 years I told my team, guys, there's going to be some hours that I'm checked out. You're going to have to leave me alone for a little bit. And I do have a very solid team in place that I'm not worried about.
Yeah, that's what you need to do to be able to delegate. I mean, you're going to have the best food. You're going to have such a great time.
Be good. It'll be fun.
Last few questions here. You've done a lot and you have a lot to be proud of, but what would you say you're most proud of? How would you like to continue to grow?
Well, look, I just want to put good product out for people. That's all I want to do. I want to have fun with what I'm doing. I'm having fun with what I'm doing. What's next for me? There's got to come a point where I just would maybe like to move to executive chair and not have day-to-day people responsibility. Yeah. But like my mom was forced to retire at 83 2 years ago. She's still bitter about it. My brother sold his company. It was a nice sale to a bigger public real estate company who had anti-nepotism rules. So mom had to get retired. And like, that's how I'm wired. That's how I was.
Yes.
I'll work forever because I really enjoy what I do. And I don't know what I do if my mind is like not active.
Right.
I don't have hobbies. Like, what am I going to go do? So I'll continue to do this. It's just, I guess the future for me would be to do it less from a people day-to-day management standpoint. Love doing it now. I just don't know if it's sustainable when I'm 10 years older than I am today.
Totally get it. And like you said, there's ways to still be involved that still give you then the breath to say, hey, are there some other things I could be doing too?
No, exactly. I still have ideas. I still have stuff I want to launch.
We're going to circle back to the original baby. It's going to happen.
I have 4 kids. I'll figure it out.
Yes. What's one piece of advice you'd like to give someone who's looking to start something of their own, whether it is within food and bev or just anything entrepreneurial?
Try to remove the passion for it away when you're making the decisions. So like, you really, when you do this, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror and you've got to be really, really honest with yourself. Because like everybody's a genius in Excel.
Right.
Like when I build an Excel model, fortunately, I've been doing this 35 years. I don't see numbers. I see glass. I see tomatoes. I see basil. I see onions. I see trucks. I see warehouses, right? So as I'm going through it, I've got a very, very good visual picture of what I'm dealing with. New entrepreneur doesn't. They don't know all those things. So find a really solid advisor that can help you think through those things. Find someone who really knows how to write the right model and challenge things. Like I use the same person for my models going back to when I was consulting. It's 12 years now. I use the same person because he asked me to write questions. He knows me. He'll challenge me on my assumptions. He challenged me on the Carbone one, and I hit every year. The first 3 years of the model, I was within like 5% of the year over year. And he still comes back and he's like, I can't believe you did this, because he challenged me on it. He's like, there's no way you're going to grow that fast. I'm like, yeah, we are. I understand exactly what I'm doing here. And we ended up growing, so they were over what I projected versus kind of under. So you need to find those right advisors around you. And if you're taking outside money, understand that's outside money and that comes with responsibility.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right? Yes, it does.
I can tell you today, for the most part, I still fly coach and I stay in the cheapest hotel I can find. I just stayed in Bentonville and a Fairfield. That's what I do. Someone else gave me money. It takes a lot of jars to pay for those expenses. Yes. So you've got to maintain a level of frugality in this business wherever you can.
Yes, agreed. Like those are the types of sacrifices you take now for the dream later, right?
Exactly.
Well, Eric, this always makes me sad but excited. We are at our last question. It's always sad because I want to keep talking to you forever, but we're at the world's best and hardest question. A little reminder for folks, this is called the perfect bite because it's a perfect bite of the folks across the value chain of food and bev and everything they bring us. But it's also because we have our own perfect bites. So a recipe, a memory, something you've eaten that every time you think about it, it makes you smile. So Eric, what is your perfect bite?
It's funny because I'm in the Italian food business and I'm going to give you something completely different.
That's exciting.
You know, an Irish breakfast, because it reminds me of my grandmother. Like it's really, I got sent to Ireland when I was 5 alone. I spent 10 weeks with my grandmother in 1968. No one did that. And I did it a lot of years. And my grandmother made me breakfast a lot. So
the full spread.
Well, at times you make the full one. At times, be a piece of bread and some sausage and some eggs. But like that always brings me back to her kitchen.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you know what? It does connect to what you're doing because that's exactly what you, Mario, Rich, want to be happening with Carbone.
Well, look, I mean, you get back to that experience, and I know we're at the end. I had to go out in the backyard with my grandfather every day to get our kids. So if you want to see a tie back to food, my grandfather had all the vegetables. Got our potatoes, got our lettuce, got our radishes, got our whatever you happen to be growing.
Perfect.
Our tomatoes don't grow well in Ireland, so very rare that you have a tomato.
Right. But again, it all starts at the beginning. There's always a through line.
Exactly.
This has been so lovely, Eric. Thank you. I've learned so much. I'm so excited for everyone to listen and learn as well. Can you let folks know where to find Carbone Fine Food? So we're talking social accounts, the website, and then general retailers where we can pick up our own jars.
It's carbonefinefood.com. I'm not good at the Instagram handles and everything, so you'll just
I'll put that in the show notes.
Yes. You'll find that, but we're available pretty much anywhere you shop right now. So it's widely available, and I don't think anybody should have a hard time finding it.
I can't wait to see what you all do next. Thank you again so much for your time. And everyone, thanks for tuning in. This was Eric Skae's Perfect Bite.
Thanks for tuning in to The Perfect Bite today. You can listen to future episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Thanks in advance for subscribing, rating, and reviewing. You can follow The Perfect Bite on social media @PerfectBitePod. Now go get something good to eat.